Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So why don't we go ahead and get started here. This car, which longtime followers of the channel probably remember it. It was in here probably like mid last year, I think. Last year sometime for a few things. I'll talk about that and why it came in. Why don't we go ahead and start with this one. So this is the red convertible that we've also had in the shop previously, and the car, I think I pretty much told the whole story yesterday. The car, she was driving it and it started losing power and having a bad fuel smell, and this was, I don't know, like 4 to 6 months ago. She parked it, hadn't really done anything, and she's wanting to take it to a car show this weekend, so she had it towed up here, looked at it and poked around the fuel system, and finally found that, lo and behold, the drain plug on the carburetor float bowl was missing. It had like backed itself out somehow. I did not rebuild or do anything to that carburetor, so it's not really on me, but still kind of a scary thing that happened. So I dug through our carburetor sort of donor part stock and found a new plug for the float bowl and a new washer for it, put it in, and amazingly, even after sitting that long, I guess maybe because the carburetor got like sucked dry, that it just didn't have any fuel in it at all, and that's probably why it was able to sit for so long without getting all gummed up. Usually if you leave them with fuel in them for that long, then the fuel will evaporate and leave behind a very sticky like a shellac almost, that's really kind of hard to get out. The only way to clean them out is to completely disassemble them and shoot carburetor cleaner through all the passages and jet stuff. Anyway, amazingly, it didn't need any of that. So I guess the fact that it was sort of like the carburetor was kind of like run all the way dry out of fuel, that maybe that's why. But anyway, so yeah, I took it for another little test drive today. Runs and drives great, feels awesome. The battery, when I went to start it this morning, was kind of low again, and it wouldn't really start it. So I went in and I took it to AutoZone, and they charged it for me and did a test on it. And they said the battery was okay. I think the number they gave me was 80%. I don't know what that means, but their test said good. So we're going to roll with it. And it seems to be starting the car well. And I did check with a multimeter, the draw on the battery with the key turned off, and it was literally like 1.9 milliamps. And I did the math, and that would take, I don't know, like years or something to drain the battery. So anyway, it would take a really long time. So yeah, I don't think there's a drain on the battery when the car is sitting and turned off. Unlike the double cab that just left, that somebody had wired the amplifier to be on all the time, which we also took care of. But yeah, I don't think there's a battery drain on this one, guys. I couldn't find it, and so I'm going to send her on her way with it tomorrow, and hopefully it'll behave itself. And if it doesn't, she can bring it back and we'll take care of it. Nice lady, pretty car. What's not to love? Okay, so that was the very first part of my morning. Another part of my morning then, well, actually a good part of my day was spent on this guy. So this car, as I mentioned before, so it's a 65. It came in last year primarily for some suspension work. So the front of this car was just like slammed, guys. I mean, this thing was like pretty much on the ground in front. And it had, if I recall correctly, I don't remember. I think somebody had like yanked torsion leaves out of the beam. I think this is the one where they like yanked out a bunch of torsion leaves, and so it was like slammed and riding terrible. So we put a new adjustable beam on it with stock, drum spindles and drum brakes and stuff like that, to where we could set it back up to like almost stock height. So the car sits with like a little bit of rake on it. And then it also had ridiculously low profile tires on it. So we put on like a 75, I don't remember what, or a 175 rather. This is a 175/65. So yeah, a little bit lower profile than stock, and quite a bit, I guess, a centimeter wider essentially. But yeah, so the car looks really good now. Owner's very happy with how it sits. However, he has been noticing that when he would get in the car, that the brakes would take like a pump or two to kind of come up, and then they would feel fine. And he was also noticing that he was having to add brake fluid to it. So not a good sign, guys. When the car was in last time for the suspension stuff, I think I put new wheel cylinders on the back. The front ones I think were okay. His master cylinder, as far as I could tell, looked okay, and stuff like that. I think the line between the reservoir and the master cylinder, where it goes into like a rubber plug in the top of the master cylinder, I think that was leaking, and I replaced that last time. But anyway, that was all I did for the brakes last time. So yeah, I said, you know what, go ahead and bring it in. Don't even drive it, because this car does still retain the single circuit brake system, meaning that if you lose, well, of course, if you lose the master cylinder, you're toast. But if you lose any wheel or anything, which, at the time we didn't know what was going on, then you would pretty much lose all your brakes. So I said, go ahead and have it towed in. So he had AAA flatbedded over here, and I started inspecting it, looking around. And the first thing that I noticed, walk over to the workbench here. First thing that I noticed is that the brake line coming out of the reservoir, so this braided line right here, was like very wet. You could see it was basically saturated with brake fluid, so not a good sign. And it was definitely not like that last time I worked on this car, or I would have replaced it or done something with it. The other thing is, this is a very cheap and crappy brake reservoir. Don't use the ones that look like this with this piece molded in. Buy the good one from Wolfsburg West, where there's like a brass tube that comes out of here with a seal and a nut that attaches it on here. These ones are very prone to leak, and they're prone to the hose kind of coming off or loosening it. Don't use these cheap ones like this. Buy the good one from Wolfsburg West. Anyway, so that's exactly what I did. I bought a new reservoir from Wolfsburg West and a new piece of line and put it on, and then also put on a new master cylinder, because when I pulled that one, even though this side that you could see was totally dry, this side right here was wet. So this is kind of the other place they can leak, where they can leak there and you don't necessarily know it because it's not really visible anywhere on the car. Maybe you can see it through, so this kind of sticks into the car by the pedal assembly. If it was wet like this, you might be able to see it. Otherwise, it's all kind of encapsulated in there, and you don't really see that anything is leaking. So it's kind of an easy one to miss. But yeah, this is where it was leaking. And so basically what that does is that leaks down into there's a piece of sheet metal here that this bolts to, and then it's spaced out about that much by another piece of sheet metal. And that's on the pan, the Napoleon hat area of the pan. And basically the fluid just drips down into that area, and you never see it. So, but yeah, that seems to be what this one was doing. So went ahead and bought a new high quality German one, again from our friends at Wolfsburg West. So put on a new master cylinder, new grommet, new high quality reservoir, new line, the rubber line that goes here. And so yeah, that is all. Let me grab my light and walk over here. Not that there's that much to see, but that is what I did for the afternoon. Pulled the gas tank out, of course, because that is 100% the easiest way to do this job. So yeah, there it is, and it's all bolted in. Lines are all on and tight. So I literally, in fact, I added some fluid already. Pretty much at this point, just need to grab Rafa or somebody in the morning and bleed the brakes front and back, and then put his fuel tank back in, and I think he should be good to go. So this car will probably be gone by the time I film this video tomorrow, if he is able to pick it up. Speaking of cars leaving, the bitchin' double cab left this morning, and got a bunch of things sorted out on that. You can check the videos in the last week or so that they kind of featured it, what we did on there. A bunch of fairly minor things, but things that were important from a safety perspective, from a driving perspective, stuff like that, electrical stuff, just like a little bit of almost everything on that car. So it is gone as well. This one's leaving tomorrow. This one's leaving probably tomorrow. So yeah, we're gonna have some turnover here in the shop coming up. I went ahead and picked up a bunch of parts from Wolfsburg for this one today. The beautiful green Gia primarily for the back brakes. I've got new front rotors, calipers, etc. coming, new master cylinder. So I should be able to go ahead and like assemble all the brakes on this car pretty soon. So that's a pretty good little milestone. I already restored her pedal assembly, which you can see sitting there looking all pretty. So yeah, we'll get back to work on this one here very soon. Okay guys, so that was mostly my day. What about Mr. Rafa? So again, we're trying to make the car shows that are coming up in early June to make the debut with this car here. So we've got like 4 or 5 weeks, which seems doable, but just a lot of little details, guys. When you're kind of finishing up a car like this that's kind of, I guess, somewhat complex as far as like some of the things we did do it. There's just like a lot of details, accessories that we're adding, you know, like these, we're wanting to run wires and we're wanting to run the wires through a certain kind of conduit that'll look period appropriate. You guys know we love those kind of little details. Instead of just like running wires, we can't really do it like that. We need to make it look like it came right out of 1954 like that. So Rafa spent some time doing some wiring. We've got some conduit coming, I think, tomorrow that we're going to try, and I think it's going to look very cool on here for those. And the other thing he did today was working on the seals are a little sticky. Working on the throttle and stuff, connecting the motor, and he noticed that he wasn't getting near full throttle. So he did some little modifications to the pedal mechanism here, the linkage, stuff like that. So I think now it's pretty much getting full throttle, or at least close enough that whatever percent is left would not be remotely noticeable at all. So yeah, just little things like that, guys. They can be very time consuming because sometimes you gotta just be creative, do some problem solving, you know, cut some things, modify some things, stuff like that. But not a problem for us. It's just, you know, like I said, it can be time consuming to figure those things out, get a plan, and then go to town implementing whatever you figured out. So yeah, Rafa did that. It worked on, like I said, some wiring up here. The semaphores, I don't know, I think he was testing them out today and he needed to mess around with the wiring on them a little bit to get those working. He did install the battery. We've got a reproduction of the Varta battery badge coming, so that'll be a nice little detail when we get that and put it on the battery. Those are kind of the main thing, guys. Like I said, just a lot of little details to get this thing going. Still hoping, although I'm not sure it's going to happen this week, to actually like fire this thing up and take it for a little spin. We'll see, guys. Maybe tomorrow. Not 100% sure. If not tomorrow, we'll probably wait till next week since Rafa works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'd kind of like to do it when he's here, and so we can have 2 sets of eyes and ears on this bus. First time we, you know, take it for a little spin, have one of us driving and the other kind of like following the car, looking around it. You know, this is quite a build, guys, and so we don't want to rush anything at the last minute and, you know, be negligent or whatever with it. So I would feel more comfortable when we first start taking this thing even down the parking lot is to have somebody on the outside of the bus looking and scrutinizing everything they're seeing and hearing and stuff like that. So if this doesn't happen tomorrow, probably do it like Monday, assuming that we get whatever other little issues here we're having sorted out, which are getting to be few and far in between. So that is pretty much Rafa's day. The red bus is getting its belly pans welded in today. Again, I mentioned that is a real honest to goodness 21 window bus, which again have what they call belly pans, so sheet metal pans that cover pretty much the whole underside of the bus. There's a center one and then one on each side that kind of sits at an angle. And again, that's important because that bus has a sunroof in it, meaning it's got a giant hole cut in the roof. So as I mentioned the other day, it's basically structurally stiffens it up, kind of like the rails on a convertible stiffen it up because it doesn't have a top. So yeah, those are being welded in today on the 66 bus, the red one. So that is what Renee is working on, and I think Santiago is pretty much done with that bus for now, unless the owner decides to have us also do the panels and seats. So we'll see. I got to follow up with him with some information on that. So guys, I think that's it today. That's what happened around here. So thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow.